Friday's edition of Your Morning Drive, the vlog here with Culotta and the Prince, 1045ESPN.com. You can catch us weekdays, 7 to 9 a.m., 1045, 1049 ESPN Baton Rouge. Interesting Friday show here on this April 24th. Mike Leach, Washington State head football coach. We usually do our coaches clinic on Thursdays. Had a little conflict with schedules there, so he bumped Leach to Friday morning. And if nothing else, he was long-winded.
Wind was something that was there was some wind blowing in the background. Look, we always like to talk with guys like that about topics that pertain to things that we're interested in. And his offense threw for 477 yards per game last year, and people talk about why can't LSU have a more prolific passing game? So a guy who's got a really prolific passing game, I wanted to talk with him and see, kind of pick his brain on some certain topics. One of the things that we asked him about is, how important is arm strength? And, his answer, kind of refreshing to hear his honesty, but it was something that kind of flies in the face of conventional wisdom of people who talk about quarterbacks. He wants a guy who's accurate first, and then if they have the arm strength, that's kind of a bonus, but not necessarily something that he looks for, in first evaluating quarterbacks. Interesting that at LSU there's a guy who's got a really strong arm that didn't play an awful lot last year, and people think that because he has a strong arm that he should play. I thought it was an interesting, take on that, and something that certainly will spur some conversation.
Absolutely. We talked to John Treelor and Hunt the Fan in hour number 2. Last night we talked about the Pelicans losing Game 4 in the Smoothie King Center. Game 3, they'll have Game 4 tomorrow night.
They'll lose Game 4 tomorrow night.
Game 4 is done. Up 20 going into the last 12 minutes. They ended up getting beaten overtime, and look, it was just one of those things where you were looking for them to foul, and they never got the foul, and Steph Curry launches a three-point from the opposite bench corner, and in true Steph Curry fashion, Drano.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about coaching here. Yeah. Your team has had a problem boxing out and getting rebounds.
22 offensive rebounds for the Warriors last night.
They have the best shooter on the planet.
Steph Curry.
9.6 seconds, you got a 3-point lead. You didn't foul?
Tackle him.
You allowed him
You
allowed him to not only get off one shot,
offensive rebound.
he got a second shot.
You don't deserve to win.
No,
I don't care if you're up by 20 or not. You let those types of things happen on a basketball floor at this part of the season, you're not going to win the game, especially against the number 1 overall seed in the playoffs in the Golden State Warriors.
Well, I think that's the other thing. We and you and I have talked about it with a lot of guys in the huddle, and we've said it on the air. We never expected them to win the series. They're a 1 seed against an 8 seed. It's a very arduous task of going and winning that series. But what we did expect was that with a 20-point lead and 12 minutes left to go, you don't crap the bed. They did.
Change of sheets. LSU baseball, more drama. Up by 10, we said this morning, they get the win on a Danny Zardone walk-off in the bottom of the ninth to win Game 1 4-3 against Texas A&M. And look, it's been billed and hyped up as 1 versus 2, and it played out.
Yeah, two very closely matched teams played a very close game. It was fun to be at the box last night. It was a great atmosphere. And, I hope that tonight we get another game like that, and we get another one like that tomorrow. You know how you can always tell that it's a big game? Traffic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of traffic heading into the game, and then with it going to a walk-off in the ninth, traffic leaving the box was pretty bad too.
I watched the game on television, and you were there.
Did you see me on TV?
I didn't see you on TV, but I can tell you that through the monitor, it sounded a lot like the old box. I mean, it had that piercing kind of Tiger Stadium type roar to it for the entire time.
They in like old box form, some of the loudest parts of the game was when LSU was on the field, not at the plate, and they needed a big pitch, or Foster makes a great play. Some of those type things there, and also like the old box, I think the fans when they got down 2-0 and they started to kind of mount their comeback, the fans got in. It wasn't one of those situations where the crowd wanted to wait until it was 2-2. As it was 2-0 and LSU was starting to put it together to tie the game back up, I think that's when the fans really got good. Great environment last night. 7 o'clock first pitch tonight. It's Friday in Baton Rouge. Let's be honest. Nobody works after noon. Nobody. So, except for Matt Moscona. 3 to 6 on after further review.
He just doesn't work 7 to 3. Though.
He'll be at the Zurich Classic. Yes, correct. But what we will see is I think you'll get a little bit more of an earlier crowd. Yesterday with the traffic, with it being a 6:30 first pitch, a little bit of a late arriving crowd. But I think there'll be a better crowd early in the game, and you get a chance to see Lang. And he has become the appointment pitcher for me this year. Last year it was Nola. A couple years ago it was Gosman, Renato before that. 2 of those guys are already in the bigs. The other guy, Nola, is going to be up there pretty soon. That's the atmosphere that we have Lang in right now.
Yeah, no, the electric lefty will get the ball tonight for LSU for Game 2. 7 o'clock first pitch, like the Prince told you, Eagle 98.1. John Treelor stopped by. Great conversation with the new LSU associate basketball coach. He spent 04 to 08 on John Brady's staff, 2 Western Division titles, an SEC championship, and a Final Four run. He talked all about that this morning. Catch it online on the podcast at 1045ESPN.com. For the Prince, Jimmy Chesthair, Cade Wassin. I'm Jordy Culotta. Have a good, safe weekend. We'll be back with you Monday morning.